Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I am Mark. I hope everybody's doing well this Tuesday. I was going to start this podcast just to talk about a lot of positives that have been going on at the football club of late, obviously with the signings as well. And obviously it went very, very quiet over the last few days. Nothing much going on regarding the takeover. Everything's running smoothly. Obviously, you would have heard something more if it wasn't. So that's a positive in itself. So hopefully that will get completed soon. But yes, before I started this podcast today, I was going to talk about the stadium, going to talk about the new signings that we've currently just come in Didi and also Tim Imabunam. If I've said that right, one day I'll get that right. I was going to talk about that and talk about how they will help the team hopefully um, as we now start pre-season and how it's going to strengthen the team going forward, especially going forward. So that was going to be a discussion which I will do in this podcast today, and I'll talk more about them in a moment. But obviously, it's been very, very quiet. The only kind of stories that were coming out was Everton are going to play a friendly against Roma. It's not been announced by the club at the moment, but obviously it's been picked up by quite a few of the known journalists and locally. And yes, it looks like we're just waiting for confirmation that we'll play them as our final friendly at Goodison Park. I will go to that game. I want to go to the game because I'm going to miss the Brighton game, the first game of the season, because I'm away on holiday, of all things. So typical timing. I was hoping that the game would be um, our first game would be away. Then at least I had a chance to actually watch our first home game. But it'll be another week to wait for that. So I've decided if it's going to be confirmed that we are going to play Roma of all teams, obviously with Friedland, the Friedland group who own Roma. So that'd be great if that is confirmed. So definitely be going to that game. So yeah. So basically, it started off. That's the kind of story that's around. There's nothing much going on regarding the takeover. That's running smoothly. I hope because we've not heard anything. Because if there was a problem, if there was an issue, we would have heard something by now. Obviously, they're going through their due diligences, and also we're waiting for you know, the approvals through the different groups like the FA and the Financial Conduct Authority and the different things that similar to what happened with 777. So hopefully they'll be quite quick, and hopefully before the season start, we might be in a position that they are now new owners of Everton Football Club, and then we can really be hopefully have a really positive start to the season. So this is where we get on to the signings that we've already made. Obviously, Ndidi came in. It was quite a bit of a delay. We were trying to figure is he actually going to sign? How long does this medical take? How long does it actually take for a medical to go? It's taking several days, and obviously it was confirmed. Um, I think last week. So he's come in. He's got all the potential to be an absolute fantastic player for us. He's very creative. He's a good player, be a perfect player in that number 10 role. He'll probably fight it out with Decore for that position, but also he can play up front as a striker as well, just in case we do have any injuries in that area. So yes, he's going to be, from what I've seen of his time at Sheffield United, he scored lots of goals for him. His assists and everything else was, top range. Okay, it's the championship. People can say, oh yeah, he did it in the championship. So now is the time to see if he can bring that kind of skill and what we want to see, that creativity that we want to see in that number 10 role to come in and do it in the Premier League. So it's a big, big thing for him. Obviously, it didn't work out at Marseille. Um, Obviously, he was played out of position. He was different tactical changes and everything else. So there's a lot of issues, a lot of struggles at Marseille, and he obviously didn't settle there. So fingers crossed, he's here now. And I hope he hits the ground running. We'll see hopefully the best of him. And he's only 24, so we've got him for 5 years, and I think hopefully he's going to get better and better, and we're going to see the best of him, and hopefully what a lot of people have seen out of his time at Sheffield United. So that's going to be a good signing. Obviously, Tim, I've mentioned Umimu, get my words out. Um, I'll just say Tim for now. I did say it right before, but I can't say it again. He's come in. Hopefully, he will be a kind of player that will, if Anana does leave, as expected, a lot of people think he will go. Obviously, he's on holiday now after the Belgium got knocked out. So obviously there'll be a lot of things going on, speculation regarding him, and to see if he will stay at the club. But it's looking a lot of people looking likely that he will leave. So will he fit in that take that position next season? Of course, he's a young lad. He played a handful of games last season for Aston Villa in the first team. So we'll see if he can kick on and get the opportunity. Obviously, we've got Idrissa Gueye still there. So good opportunity for him, hopefully, to come in and show what he's capable of. So, or what I've seen of him of his time at Queen's Park Rangers on loan, he's again potentially going to be fantastic. Hopefully, he can step up into the Premier League, establish himself with Everton, and help us going forward. So that's another positive thing on that front. Obviously, I have to check my phone now. We've obviously agreed a fee with Hull for Philogene, is it's called Philogene or Billie Jean, Philogene from Hull, obviously. I believe it's £16 million has been obviously agreed. If you believe what is being said this morning from Paul Joyce, the Bobble, and also Alan Myers has also shored up what this interest is, and that we've actually agreed a fee with them. The player prefers to come to Everton. Okay. At this moment in time, has he agreed personal terms with Everton? Has it advanced to a stage where basically he will come and do a medical and we will see him in the blue shirt hopefully soon? Well, might be a yellow top because at the moment they're still not showing the new kit at the moment, unless you saw the NDD signing where they were showing the unseen and he actually saw the home shirt in the background. So everyone knows what that shirt's going to look like, but I just wish they would have officially confirmed it and put it, out there so everybody can see what our new kit's going to be like. But we'll see. Hopefully, we'll find out in the next 24 hours or even sooner that will he come to us or will he go to Ipswich or Crystal Palace. I believe they're saying Ipswich have obviously agreed a fee. The players agreed personal terms, but obviously Everton have come in as of yesterday. His agent was hanging around Finch Farm. I think it must have been yesterday. He put it on Instagram. He likes hanging around car parks at training grounds. Obviously, he got kicked out of the one at Barcelona. So he was there. So he's pointed that. Obviously, spoke to the club, spoke to Kevin Farewell. So we'll have to wait and see. But if we were to get him in, I see, the potential. He's going to be a generational kind of talent, I hope. He's got all the tricks and he's skills. He's pacey. We've seen what he's done at Hull, obviously, in the Championship. You can see what he can do. I think he'll be great for especially on the wing. We need the pace on the wing. We need to be able to get forward as quickly as possible to get them balls in the box, to get our strikers on the end of them. Um, so it'll be a great signing. Obviously, they're saying that if according to Alan Myers, if this one doesn't happen or doesn't take place, there's other wingers that we're looking at. So it'll be interesting to see who we are looking at, and it'll be interesting to see who will come in. But we are, at this moment, it seems to be that Everton Football Club, or its recruitment of Kevin Farewell and Daniel Purdy, are got a plan, and it seems to be working at the moment. We did the right thing. We sold Ben Godfrey, obviously. We sold Dobbin. I don't know if we've actually sorted ourselves regarding PSR, and if that means that we are going to be compliant with it for this season, and we passed it, so we're not going to have any kind of breaches again. I know there's an issue going on at the moment regarding the stadium, which is still to be resolved, but other than that, nothing yet on that. So hopefully it's a positive in that sense. So in that instance, but we will see. So it seems to be at the moment there is a plan in place. They're doing it the best way, and it seems to be working. You know me, everybody knows. If you've listened to this podcast over the last year, I've been very critical of the director of football. I've always been critical of the manager, of course, especially through that period of time when we weren't winning football matches and we were playing very, very poorly early in the season. and my thinkings about him being very one-dimensional, my thinking about obviously Kevin Thelwell in the recruitment of players that we have brought in that have failed and not worked out. It's still an example. We've had come back to pre-season Neil Maupay. He's come back. Definitely not doesn't shouldn't be part of this football club, especially with what he said last season and his views and actually the arrogance that he has. Just because he had a bit of criticism thrown at him by Everton fans, and he wasn't very happy with that. But he wasn't performing well. He wasn't doing his job. Just because tactically it didn't work for him. But the performances when he was there, he didn't put the performances week in, week out when he had the opportunity to do so. And when he was in the position to score goals, he didn't score the goals. And you can be critical, say, Calvert-Lewin when he played, or Beto or Chimiti or whoever had played in that position. But the thing is, though, that 90 they work hard and put the effort in to try and get themselves in them positions. But it was with him, it was just like, week in, week out. He didn't show that kind of commitment to the club, and that's what really irritated me. And he went off to Brentford. He badmouthed the club. He badmouthed the fan base, and he's not right for this football club. And I hope he is sold on. It'd be quite interesting to see because he was at pre-season yesterday. See if he fits back in. If you see, as Jimmy Green once said, it's a funny old game. You just never know. He might just be starting lineup and start scoring goals for fun, and be a completely different player. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But my thinking and his attitude, his arrogance, and just as a person, I just don't think he's right for this football club. And as I mentioned about recruitment, this is a decision that Kevin Thelwell made, and he felt that he was the right player. Frank Lampard obviously felt he was the right player, and it was off the stats or whatever else that they go off. And they spent £20 million on a player that's basically been an absolute flop. And he went to Brentford, and obviously in their system he scored a few goals here and there, but they don't want him. They didn't take up the option, wanted to buy him. So that just tells you everything, really, about him as a player. I think he's more championship standard. He needs to probably, if he does move, it'll be to a lower league club. But who will take him? That's the question. And who will be, interested in him? And if he does go on loan, he'll probably go on loan to a championship club or a European club, or whoever it may be, and he will run down his contract like a lot of other players because we won't be able to sell him unless we sell him for a very few £1 million. So I don't know. We'll watch this space on that front. But yeah, so basically at this moment, plan is working. It's structure. It's been put in place. It seems to be we're doing the right things. We're selling the right players. We're bringing money in. We're players out of contract. Obviously, you know what my feelings about it. Ashley Young obviously signed a new contract for another year. He's just getting older, and I think I would rather if he obviously is staying, I'd rather him sitting on the bench and coming on to be like to any. So if we were to try and sign Philogene from Hull, if I've said that right, please I do apologise. He will be the player that will be starting the games, and then Ashley Young will be the one who can come on to him, or Jack Harrison obviously has come in. We will have that backup. We'll have competition for places, and everyone wants to get in the team. That's what we wanted. We need to strengthen the areas around us. It would be great to see someone like Dwight McNeil, who's playing obviously on the left, can become more of a central area to give more of an opportunity. But we're looking at wingers and allow him to be more not just the winger and crossing the ball in the box like he has been doing, but when we've seen him play in a central, more a number 10. Okay, we've got Ndidi and we've got Ducore there, but he can also do a job centrally as well. So we've got backup and we can move things around, but we have to look at if we can get another winger in, and whoever that may be. So at this precise moment, positively, the plan is working. We're looking at good young players, potential out there who hopefully can step up to the Premier League and can come in and actually do a job for us and excite us, basically. Because the signings like NDD excite me. Uh, Philogene excites me because of what potentially he can do, and he will be an absolutely fantastic signing for us if we can get it through. And that's we just have to wait and see on that front. I'll keep everybody updated if I hear anything on the grapevine. But yeah, so it's a positive start. So something a plan is in action, and if it's down to the fact that the owner is no longer taking any kind of involvement, is sticking his oar in, and the fact is the board and a certain Mr. Kenwright, who is no longer with us, obviously, is no longer meddling in the director of football's job to do his job. And if that is the case, that they're not meddling in, they're saying that's your job. Here's the money. Here's what we've got. Here's what's available. You do your job. You can move the money around, and if you think you can get a deal for this amount of money, we'll support you on that. There it is. There's the funding. There it is for you that we can do this, and letting them do their job. Now, if they haven't been allowing them, which I'm guessing is probably the case, allowing them to not do the job in the time when Bill Kenwright was still chairman, obviously, and Mashiri was still sticking his nose in and not allowing them to do their job. So if they had an interest in certain players or certain that they're looking at, but the owner or the chairman felt, oh no, we'll go for this player. Look, this player's a lot cheaper. This look playing this, and it wasn't Neil Maupay who basically came in because it was a cheaper deal or whatever it may be, and it wasn't a Kevin Felwell decision, then I apologise to Kevin Felwell. But if this plan is taking place and they finally sorted out a structure and a way to recruit players, young players, obviously for the academy, and also players for the first team and so forth, if it's working, then we're on, you know, hopefully that'll continue on, and I'll have a little bit more confidence in him, and Daniel Purdy will have a lot more confidence in him going forward, that he's doing the right things, making the right decisions, and making the right calls on the players they want to bring in, and obviously the players that if we do get the whole player in, then it excites me and think, oh yes, we can start the season, and it's just we've only just started pre-season, but that we've got a period of time before the season starts that we can bed these players in, that they can settle into a structure and settle into the tactics and the way that we play, and we can then start to see in the pre-season games that we'll have to see if that structure that I was always concerned about regarding Sean Dyson being one-dimensional as a manager, to see if we can start seeing him changing tactically and start to see us being more forward thinking team, more exciting going forward, creating opportunities for our strikers, and we can go forward. And if I see that, then and if Sean Dyche is actually willing to change and structure it in a way, then I might give him more time. But as I said before, my opinion has always been that he's always been comes across as a one-dimensional manager. He's set up in a way like his time at Burnley is to be defensive, to grind out results, to just look on more a committed team that can put a fight and work hard and do that. That's what I want. That part of it's fine. But I also want to see our football team scoring goals, creating opportunities, winning games, and playing well enough that I can actually enjoy watching our team. Last season, we didn't see that at all for a long period of time. And we came through in the end, and we started to see little things at the end when he decided to change a little bit, talk to his players, and be more communicative with them, trying to organise and sort out as a team together. Sean, tracksuit Sean, gets a tracksuit on. Different story, different change philosophy. I will back him. But there's always that doubt in the back of my head. And I know Martin is out there, bag full of toffees. I know what, you read his articles, what he's put out there regarding Kevin Farewell and Sean Dyche. I absolutely 100% agree with you with what you say, and I'm with you on that. But at this moment in time, we're going through a takeover, obviously. He has to give him the opportunity because we survived. We stayed up. We beat Liverpool. We played well in bits. but we were grinding out getting results. We started when we survived. You could start to see our performance a little bit better. The players were a little bit more relaxed. They would be able to play the way they wanted to play. But now, if we're bringing young players in, excitable players that can add to our team going forward and strengthen it, then I think next season, even if we finish mid-table and we grow and we play better, and if I see that and I start to see the team playing, performing week in week out, and getting and the manager is exploring new ways and different ways tactically and formations and different ways to get to allow the players to actually perform to their best abilities, not just putting in the work, doing all that sort of thing, but can actually perform and be happy and confident in doing that. That's what I want to see, and I'll get behind it. But if I keep on seeing the same thing, one dimensional, keep on seeing similar tactics, being very negative and just be defensive and just launch it up to the striker, launch it up to the striker all the time, where you've got potentially great young players, great players who can change games. If that continues on, then I will question it again. But if he is taken on and allows us to play more football, yes, I don't mind him launch the ball and every so often to do that to cause mayhem and chaos. But I want to see, mix it up a bit. It'd be great. But let me know. Comments below on Twitter, on YouTube or whatever. Let me know. What do you think? Do you think he will, with these new signings, will be able to open up a bit more and allow us to move to be better and to be better going forward? But defensively, we're strong as it is, and just to hope that Jared Branthwaite is still part of the club as we start the season, and hopefully he'll stay with us for another year. Obviously, Manchester United put another bid in, which is derogatory, absolutely terrible offer. 45 million plus 5 million add-ons. We want 75 roughly. We want what we think the valuation should be. And I just wish the club, and I go back to communication, it'll probably change when Dan Freaklin and the group comes in, when he take over. And if it's before the transfer deadline, hopefully he will communicate and say he's not going anywhere. You pay this price and start communicating going forward. So yes, it's yes. Sorry about that. The cat's causing mischief. If you're seeing this on YouTube, sorry, the cat's wandering around causing mayhem. But yeah, somebody at the club has rejected obviously the bid, and basically I would just wish sometimes the club can just come out and say, we value this player, Jared Branthwaite, at this value. We care about him. He's part of our plans. He's part of our plans going forward. He's everything that we want. We want him part of our club. If you want him, you have to pay this value. Don't have to give the fee, but we said he's valued at this amount. If you don't want to pay that, he's not going anywhere. We don't need to sell him. This is the indicator that we're getting at the moment. We don't need to sell him. The assumption the other week is because PSR and everything else, we had to sell players so we can have money to be compliant with PSR. But it seems to be we're all right. We've done the deals that we needed to do. It seems to be we're all right. I hope we're compliant with PSR, because obviously they're saying the club is all right. But they put a derogatory bid in. They put another one in. And then it seems to be Manchester United fans thinking, it's not worth that amount of money. But look at the players that Manchester United have, signed over the years. Maguire is an example. How much was it? 85 million, whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. 85 million for him. Anthony, was it 90 million, whatever? These players, and they've been flops. Maguire was all right for a period of time at Manchester United when he first came in, but he's become a flop. He's not playing all the time. He's making mistakes all the time. And if you speak to United fans, they just, criticise him most of the time when he's playing. So, and Anthony's been an absolute flop. And other players that they've signed have not worked out and spent millions and millions, hundreds of millions and millions of pounds on. And basically, they just look at Jared Branthwaite and just think, yeah, he's worth this amount. Manchester United fans just think, yeah, he's worth about 30, 40 million, really. He's not, just take the money. And that just shows you the bullying tactic of a football club that is struggling. financially. And they're trying to lowball Everton Football Club because they think that we've got a bit of a struggle financially, which we do, obviously. And they just think, oh well, we're just offering that amount, we'll just accept it. We're not. It looking likely that the attitude from the club, and if it's Kevin Farewell again, if it seems to be from the club's point of view, is that we're compliant PSR. We think we are, and we're confident we are. We don't need to sell him. We want to keep him and be part of our team next season and to grow. He's only had one season, full proper season in the Premier League last season, and he needs another season. And if we come to next summer and we've done a lot better, we're moving into the new stadium, he's got a contract to 2027. But if Manchester City or Real Madrid or anybody else out there comes in with a bid for about 80, 90, 100 million, his value's going to go up. And that's what the attitude is. So we will probably take it then because it's a lot of money and that's above the value. What we think is what Everton's value of the player is. It's simple, isn't it? We value him more than what Manchester. It seems to be more than what Manchester United do, and their client journalists who are putting the stories out there regarding it, think the same. What the issue is simple. These client journalists nationally, it's like they've already seen Jared Branthwaite when he played Liverpool on the telly, or he played games on the telly. They've always seen bits of him. They've not seen him throughout the season, and that's the thing because Everton are not a focus. It's the Sly Six. They get the focus, and they talk about all their players, and that's so when they talk about say one of their players, so Man City had a player say, Kevin De Bruyne. You look at the value of him, you're looking upwards 80, 90 million. At one stage. You look at the players that they have, and if Manchester United were going after them, the value would be higher because the press, the client journals, the press who follow the six more than anybody else will look at those players and go, they're worth this because they're worth higher because of where they are. Because Everton are where we are, have financial struggles, takeover issues, all the point deductions, you name it, the whole 9 yards thrown at us. Easy target, easy to bully. But Everton can stick two fingers up at Leicester United and say, well, no, we're rejecting that. You have to come back and pay 75, 80 million, whatever, what we value him at. We value, Everton Football Club value him at this amount. You value him at that amount. We're way, way, way apart. So we'll just have to wait and see. Is it going to drag on? If it's going to keep on going? Probably. But he signed a contract to 2027. He's just signed a new contract. It's not just about that, they have to pay not just for, the contract that he's just signed, pay the value that he is. And in all honesty, I'd rather, if it's going to any other club, it won't be Manchester United currently. They've got leaky roofs, they've got issues financially, they're laying off 250 staff. They're trying to downsize, they're trying to get as much money as they possibly can to put into the staff at the club, the playing staff to go out and recruit players. They're trying everything they can, and they're struggling because they set the bar, and that's what the £1 billion in debt or whatever. They set the bar so high with the players that they bought over a period of the last few years that I'm sorry, but if you want a player who is even younger than what Maguire will say, and potentially could be generational talent, that it could be the next captain of England, next captain of Everton, you have to pay top book for him. And we're no longer part of the PSR calculation now. We're now in July, we're now in a new accounting year. Let's see. So, yeah, we'll see what on that. The other story, of course, out there as well is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Obviously, before the PSR deadline, it was looking likely that he may have gone to Newcastle and we were going to get Minty from Newcastle in like a swap deal of some sort. Obviously, it didn't happen. It collapsed on that front. Obviously, Everton have offered him a new contract. It's just sitting there, and at the moment, he looks like he's riding out that contract because he's only got a year left. Obviously, it's an offer there. Do I want to keep him? I like to keep him because he works well in the system that Sean Dyche has set up. And what we saw against Liverpool, okay, the injury problems and everything else, we can discuss that further. But when he's on his top game and when we see the best of him, you can see what he can do for us going forward. Um, I think a part of me was feeling that if he was to go and we can get a fee for him, we can look at another striker coming in. I just feel that the time that he's been at the club over the last few years, he's had loads of injuries issues. Obviously, when he has played, he's struggled. He's had a lot of mental health issues, obviously, and I think the club supported him amazingly. I feel, and I think the fan base as well, because there was a period when we were quite critical of his performances on the field, but the work that the club has put into him to get him injury free and to come back, and gradually we're now seeing near the end of the season what we've seen when Ancelotti was manager, scoring the goals, always being persistent and hassle in every way, and what we can expect from him. So that's why I would love to keep him. Sorry, love to keep him going forward, and I just hope that he's come back to pre-season. When he came, the sun was shining. New sponsor, new kit suppliers, new owners. Hopefully, going into a new stadium next season. Hopefully, the vibe he's going to get there is a positive vibe and a positive feel around the club. New players coming in, obviously, he's probably going to feel excited, and hopefully that might push him to make that decision. But if he doesn't, then hopefully the clubs out there that might be interested in him to take him on, but it has to be done sooner rather than later. And I think they've allowed it in the hands of the agent for so long, with this contract offer there. They've offered it, they're not changing anything. And I think the club now need to go to his agent and say, look, if you don't sign this contract, we're giving you enough, we're going to let him go. And there was an opportunity, obviously, go to Newcastle, but obviously it didn't happen. It didn't materialise. And I believe it was the Athletic who reported it that basically Newcastle were trying to sell Wilson, and they couldn't sell him, so that's why it fell flat. They didn't want too many strikers, so Wilson is still on the books there, obviously. So if he was sold, then I think Calvert-Lewin would have gone, and we would have got Minty in the going in a direction. So we'll see. We'll see on that. I hope it gets resolved sooner rather than later. I hope the optimism that is around not just players going back for pre-season, which is obviously the case, and you can still feel the vibe, the confidence there. The fan base, obviously myself and everybody else, you guys out there, there's a positive feel out there, and that's what is the greatest thing is that we're moving forward as a football club. Decisions in the recruitment side of it are going according to plan, and it seems to be a plan in place and doing really, really well with it. That's what we want. And long may it continue, and long hopefully we can get more deals through the door because obviously we do. I've not talked about Jack Harrison returning. Um, he's come back in, hopefully be a lot better than he was last season, and show what he's capable of, what potentially he can be capable of. So Seamus obviously signing a new contract. I mentioned about Ashley Young, obviously. There's a lot of positive reinforcements, strengthening the squad, getting better, and hopefully we can bring more players in. Just watch this space. So it's an exciting period of time, and what's made it even better is that we have hopefully new owners, competent owners with ideas and plans, and hopefully not just for off the field, like for sponsorships and for naming rights of the stadium, or um, also for the academy and what they want to do there. There's a lot of positive things that they want to bring in. Hopefully, we'll find out more when they do take over and they'll speak to us, and competent people in the director's box, basically the board, who are forward thinking, who want to get this club back into Europe, challenging for titles, challenging for trophies, and being what Everton is. Neil Satters, Nisa Upton, nothing but the best is good enough. That is what the ethos is, and I hope that they're going to land onto that, and that's what they want to do. They want the best, and we're going to move into the new stadium, which is nearly completed. And the naming rights, when that gets announced, that's going to be money coming in. We've got the custodial that basically, I think it started already, so we're getting paid 20 million a year for that. So there's money coming in. So our profits are going to be a bit better. More money, more sponsors, because as we move into the new stadium, as I mentioned, the naming rights will obviously be agreed, whoever that may be. It might be a lot of money. Finch Farm might get a sponsorship as well. Money coming in, that means new stake might come to an end. We might have new shirt sponsors, and lots of positive things on that front going commercially off the field. So that's, if we can get the takeover and it's sorted and they come in, we can move forward, and we can just be excited how the future, and if it transcends on the field, because how we feel off the field, we're excited, happy, what we want it to be. We're not nervous, not scared, not no fearful or what's going to happen next. We move forward as a club all together. And if that is powerful, and if the players are feeding off at Goodison or away, feeding off the positive energy of us as fans, the world's your oyster. We can move really a lot further than you think. So I'm looking at it on a positive front. Let's see where this goes. It's exciting times. It's going to be great. I hope. It's a hope. But for a lot of part of last season, I kept saying, I hope this happens. I hope that happens. And it just never materialised. But now it looks like finally we're moving in the right direction. And that train started to get slowly getting quicker and quicker and quicker again. We go, pooh. And finally, before I finish today, yes, so it's a really positive future out there. It's just how the new owners coming in, the planning, the recruitment working in the best way possible to get the best players that we can at this point in time for good money and everything else, good value as well. And we can just see where it moves forward. So we move on. Let's see what happens. So yes, so it's let's keep going, keep running, keep running. So yeah, that's the end of today's podcast. Thank you again for listening. Just to mention, next week I've got a special guest on. I've got Mark Thomas, who does the drone footage. He's coming on. I'm looking forward to speaking to him. He's the footage out there, for the new stadium at the moment, has been fantastic. Obviously, probably if you've been on social media, he's been putting great videos out of going into getting invited to go into the stadium with the rest of the drone guys, and Baz, Barry 1878, Nick, Mr. Drone, and many others, who I've always supported. They're fantastic at what they do, week in, week out. They'll do different things with the drones, but they put the stuff out and keep the content going right from the beginning right to the end. So if you see Mark's, if you follow him on Twitter, you'll see that he's done a timeline. It's about 7 minutes long, of right from the get-go, pictures all the way leading up to now. But his content's been fantastic, and I just love the music that he puts with it and everything else. I'm looking forward to having him on, talking about his, the drone and the stadium and everything regarding that and going forward. We'll talk about Everton, obviously, because we're both Evertonians. We want to talk about the Blues and the future and everything else and so forth. We'll just go on and have a good old chat about everything that is Everton Football Club. Yeah, so he'll be on next week, so I'm looking forward to that. So on that note, thank you again for listening and watching. I do appreciate the support. Please give me as much feedback as possible. If you can, keep on sharing the video. Subscribe on YouTube if you can. Share it with your mates, anybody that you know. This podcast, I want it to grow. I want it to be bigger, better, and I want to take it to the next level, because we've got really a lot of exciting things upcoming. That is Everton Football Club, and even at this time of year where basically it can be a bit quiet, I've been able still to talk about players coming in and the excitement with the new stadium as well. So and takeover and all. So there's a lot of stuff going on even in the close season. But your support has been absolutely fantastic. So please give me as much feedback as you possibly can. I would love you to come on. So hopefully, if I can get that more often using Zoom, which I use, to get you guys on. If you want to come on and talk about all things Blues, please let me know. I know Everton views out there, Stu. I think we would doing something, but it kind of just didn't happen. We chatted and it just didn't take place. We will at some point in the season when I get things up and running that we can have the communication like we are and talk and I can get it out there and get everything working. So yeah, so looking forward to Mark coming on next week. Talk about Orphan Drone, talk about new stadium and everything else like that. But please, give me your feedback on YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok, or wherever else you see this podcast. Let me know, please. I just want to grow it. I want it to be a fantastic experience for you guys to listen to me rambling on about anything that is Everton Football Club. Because as you know, I love this football club. I care about it deeply, and I just it's always on my mind every day. Every day, something I'm thinking, what can I talk about? What's happening with Everton at the moment? Are we signing this player? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? I just love everything and anything. I'm just looking forward to the season to start because I've missed Goodison and I'm looking forward to the final season there and and all the activities and everything else that's going on throughout the season. So on that note, thank you again for listening. I'll speak to you all next week with Mark on. So everyone have a good week and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.